Hello, my name is Rachel Elder, and I am owner and one of the therapists of Connected Couples Counseling. And every month we do a blog post, and I do a video version of the blog post to give you a human version behind the scenes of it. So this month I decided to talk about one of the core concepts that I work on with the couples that I work with through the relationship theory model. And one of the sessions that I walk every couple that I work with through is the story session. And the way that the blog title is this month is the stories we tell ourselves. And this session goes along with these core 6 sessions that I walk couples through. But I thought this month I'd share how I've been applying it to my own life and be a little vulnerable with you. So in this process of discovering the stories we tell ourselves, these stories are rooted in shame, insecurity, negative beliefs. And they have been growing for a lifetime. They start from a young age. We start to learn what love and connection is, what is the good and the bad, and we begin to make sense or try to make meaning of what's happening to us. And these stories get developed. And so one of the stories that I find myself saying to myself over and over again is, I'm too much. I'm too much for my husband. I'm too much for my friends. I'm too much for my family. I'm too much as a therapist, as a relationship professional. And I'm not alone in this. We all have stories. Some common ones are, I'm not lovable. I don't deserve good things happening to me. I'm going to be abandoned or rejected. I have to perform, be perfect for connection, for love. And as we go through, I want to pause the video in a minute, but think about your stories, your insecurities, these negative beliefs you have about yourself. What are the ones that you have? Because I'm going to walk you through what I do to help change these stories to more positive stories about myself. So take a pause, jot them down, and then come back to playing. So recently, I've been dealing with the story of being too much in my friendships. And I just want to walk you through. So I have a lot of examples. Let me rewind. I have a lot of examples of feeling like I'm too much in my friendships. It goes so far back to the point that I used to hide under the table at my birthday party because I felt like when my friends were fighting or not getting along, that it was about me, that like I'm doing something wrong, that they can't get along as we celebrate my birthday. I would get so overwhelmed that I would go and hide. And then I had another scenario when I was in high school where I had a friendship where there's a group of us that all hung out, and I tended to be the fifth wheel in this group. They were all dating each other, and I was just along for the ride. And one of them broke up. And I kind of got pulled to this place of one of them wanting me to take sides, and I refused. I was like, I became friends with you both at the same time, and I love you both. I'm not gonna take sides in this. And it led to a really painful experience where it was this place of me going like, am I just too much? Like, am I, like, my perception, my way of engaging, like, is there something wrong about this? Am I the bad person? Should I feel shameful? It was a terrible experience. A lot of people turned against me during this time, but I stayed steady because I felt like it was the right decision, but that it became another confirmation of like, I'm just too much. Like, people don't get me. They don't want to be my friend. I'm too much. I'm overwhelming. I'm too emotional. Whatever it was, like that story was there of I'm too much. And then most recently, just a few years ago, I had a huge falling out with one of the closest friends in my life. And to this day, I still can't make sense of it. But that story came up of like, I must be too much, that they're removing me from their life. Or I'm not enough is that other side of it. Maybe I'm not enough to repair this with. I'm not that important to them. And it's incredibly painful. And we get stuck finding confirmation that these stories are true. However, there's the other side of the coin too, that while I can find confirmation about these negative beliefs, these insecurities, these stories I tell myself, I also can scan to find the other side of I'm I am just right. I'm not too much. I am enough. I won't be abandoned and rejected. I deserve connection. I deserve love. I deserve friendship. I can find that and scan that too. However, I tend to scan for the negative story, the negative belief more than the positive belief. So one of the things I've had to start doing is, one, just being familiar with these stories. It is much easier to ignore them, avoid them, kind of dismiss them and pretend they don't exist, kind of turn away and be like, nope, I'm not looking at that. I'm not touching that. However, it is really powerful to say, these are the insecurities I have, to actually know what they are, have awareness of them, and then this next bit, to share them with someone. So for me, it was sharing it with my husband. There's these kind of generic versions of these stories, but I even have my own stories of my marriage with him. One of the stories is like, I have to be the cool wife, which means I have to be easygoing and accommodating and kind of perform for love and be like this really cool wife who doesn't get upset very easily and is so easy to please. But what happens is I'm just dismissing my own needs a lot, and that builds up until I kind of lose it. So then I end up not being a cool wife. But I have my own insecurities even in my own marriage, and so I've had to share those with my husband and speak them out loud, which is incredibly vulnerable. He is a safe person, and I know he wants to love me and see me and be like, wait, that's not true. But to just say, like, this is the story, these are the insecurities I have about who I am in connection with you, is so vulnerable. And there was a relief when I did that. Here are the stories I'm holding in our marriage. And for him to go, I hear you, I see you. It makes sense that you would feel this way, either due to our history or your lived experiences you've had. And then to reassure me that that's not how he views me, and that's not his truth. And so, one, you got to have that awareness of what these are. Two, you do need to share them with someone who is safe, who can see you and know you intimately. So if you're partnered up, with your partner. If you're not partnered up, with someone who is a safe person, who doesn't take this information and use it against you, but says, I want to know you and see you. And so that's that second part. The third thing that I've had to implement and had to do in order to help rewire these stories and insecurities I have is to start to look for proof that I am lovable, I am good enough, I deserve connection, I deserve friendship, instead of the proof that I don't deserve this or those negative beliefs. So something I do that goes off every day on my phone is a reminder at like 11 a.m. that says, look for proof that you're important. Look for proof that people are reaching out to you. I did this with a client the other day of, I want you to speak to yourself in the mirror, the affirmation, I am lovable, I am deserving of connection, I am important, I am a priority. The second part was to seek out time with people. So for me, when it comes to friendships, something I've started to do is just say, like, who are 3 people who've reached out to you this week? You have friends. Or name 3 people you connected with in a friendship way or turned to you, or just name the friends you have. I was telling myself that, like, I'm not close with people. I moved to Washington for grad school about 13 years ago, and for probably 12 years, I would tell my husband, like, I'm just not close with people. I had such close friendships in Indiana where I grew up, and I was not allowing myself to really claim the friendships I had made here. Like, I would say I have friends, but I don't have best friends. And the reality is, I had a lot of people in my life who were reaching out, and I was reaching out to them, and they are a best friend. But there was this kind of self-protection I was doing to say, like, it's not real. It's not the same thing. Of course it's not the same thing. It's a whole new relationship. But I was blocking my own self from, like, recognizing I do have community. I am connected. I have friends who love and care for me. And I have to look to seek that out instead of the proof that I don't have friends. I can easily say, like, well, I'm the one who's always initiating. Sure, maybe it feels that way at times, but they're responding, and maybe that's my strength, is I am an initiator. I'm thinking about that, and their strength is to respond and say, I'm gonna be there. When can I show up? What are we doing? instead of using it as, see, they didn't initiate, so I guess that means they're not really my friend. And so I have to start scanning and looking for this proof and letting it impact. So the other day I did this with a friend. I had sent her a few text messages and she didn't respond. Now, what I know about this friend is she has tons of unread messages. If she's watching this, I love you. But she has tons of unread messages. I know this about her, but I'd send her a text on like a Sunday and then like a Tuesday and then like a Friday, and I didn't hear from her. And logically, I was like, I'm gonna see her in a week. It's not a big deal. If anything's off when I see her, like that will be a heads up that we need to work something out. But the reality is, I'm gonna see her and it's gonna be all good. But the emotional, irrational, the insecurity took over to the point that I had to send her a message. I was like, are you mad at me? And she's like, oh my gosh, no, I'm not mad at you. I can see how you got there. We're like, no, I'm not mad at you. But I was scanning so hard for that proof of, see, I don't deserve friendship. See, I am too much. And I have to work so hard to look for the other and to look at all the reasons someone might not be texting me back or what's going on in their life, and not going to that negative belief, but looking for that positive belief of, I am important. I am a priority. I do have friends. It's so important to do this work for yourself, one, because you want to fight against these shame stories that have had a lot of evidence in your lived experience. We're not invalidating that lived experience, but we are saying, I don't have to keep believing this. The second piece is for your relationship, right? If you're on this blog, it's probably because you're looking for a couples therapist or relationship tips. These insecurities impact how you connect with your partner. They become the ways that you block or turn away from them because you're like, don't see this part of me. You are wounded in relationship and you are healed in relationship. Your partner and you get to have this gift and offering to one another to say, I want to heal these wounds. It's not my responsibility, but I'm taking accountability to do this with you because I love and care for you. I want you to see yourself in the way I see you. I want you to feel unburdened. I want you to feel seen. I want you to feel safe in relationship. And I get to create that with you, and you get to create that with me. So it's incredibly important to do this in your relationship, to be honest with one another. And these are the stories I tell myself. Something else that my husband and I are implementing now that I teach my clients is we now have this script. It's called the story script that we can utilize. So when I'm in the kitchen and something happens and I might go into that story of, I'm too much, I'm a burden, I have to be a cool wife, I can bring that to him and be like, hey, I'm stuck in this story. Can you help me get out of it? And he can quickly be like, that makes so much sense. I see that. Here's how I truly think and feel. Let me provide that reassurance and help you rewire this insecurity. It's so powerful and so healing. And that is why this is so important to know for yourself, of how it impacts how you show up in the world, but specifically in your relationship or your marriage. We want you to be the most healed, whole, authentic, real versions of you. And to do that, we have to work through the shame, the insecurities, the negative beliefs that pop up. So this is just me kind of summarizing the blog. Go and take a read. It walks it through a little bit more clearly than me just kind of free-flowing and talking. I'm curious what questions you have about these stories, these negative beliefs. Drop them in the comments. I will respond when I can. Or if you are like, wow, this is so speaking to me, I want to do this work, feel free to reach out for a free consultation. I always do a 20-minute consultation with people who are interested, just to share, like, this is how I work. This is what it looks like. How does that sound for you? Does this speak to what you're wanting to do? And we can always move forward with working together, or I can help you find other professionals who do this work that can support you to really healing these insecurities, these negative beliefs, the ways that we self-protect in our relationships, but really miss that deep emotional connection that we all deserve to have. All right, till next month.